Welcome, Seeker, to the continuation of a journey not merely through a forest, but through a realm where time flows differently, where every leaf, every ripple of water, and every whisper of wind carries meaning. In Part 1, you witnessed the dawn, the rituals, and the quiet power of the Sylvan Elves as they moved in harmony with the forest. You saw how every touch, every observation, every shared meal was infused with deliberate mindfulness. But the day stretches far beyond sunrise, and the secrets of their lives are hidden in the moments between shadows and sunlight, between breath and movement, between one heartbeat and the next. Now, we go deeper. We walk with them as the forest awakens fully, as the sun climbs high into the canopy, and as the air becomes thick with life. We see how they tend hidden gardens, observe animals unnoticed by the casual eye, and perform their crafts with precision that mirrors the growth of the forest itself. Each moment is a story, each movement a lesson, and each glance a connection to the living world around them. Imagine standing on a moss-covered path, sunlight filtering in shafts through the leaves, hearing the soft trill of birds, the distant hum of insects, and the faint rush of water over smooth stones. Can you feel the pulse of life beneath your feet, the rhythm of wind brushing against branches, the subtle vibration of unseen creatures moving quietly in the undergrowth? The Sylvan Elves perceive all of this. They do not merely live, they observe. They learn, they respond, and in doing so, they preserve a delicate balance that has endured for centuries. In Part 2, you will follow them through the deepening day, into the intricate patterns of afternoon and evening, and through the quiet revelations of night. You will witness the rituals, the meditations, the crafts, and the meals that sustain them not just as physical sustenance, but as exercises in presence, attentiveness, and harmony. You will see how even the smallest act, moving a stone, adjusting a branch, observing a bird, carries significance. Prepare, Seeker, to immerse yourself once more in a world where time slows, where the ordinary becomes extraordinary, and where every detail reveals a secret. That true power lies not in spectacle, but in deliberate attention, in mindfulness, and in the quiet, continuous practice of inhabiting each moment fully. Here, in the forest of the Sylvan Elves, you will learn to see the invisible threads that bind all life together, and to understand that the greatest magic is subtle, persistent, and utterly ordinary. The forest at midday is alive with subtle motion. Sunlight streams through the canopy, scattering in golden patterns across moss-covered stones and the flowing surface of streams. Every shadow shifts slowly, every leaf trembles in a gentle breeze, and insects hum faintly in the air. The Sylvan Elves move quietly, attuned to the smallest changes in the world around them. Each step is measured, each glance deliberate, each breath a conscious connection to the life surrounding them. In small clearings, the elves engage in practices that blend observation, movement, and mindfulness. Some practice archery, not as a test of skill but as a meditation in focus and alignment. The bow becomes an extension of perception, the arrow a tangible expression of intention. Others walk slowly along winding paths, stretching their limbs in harmony with the flow of wind through the trees, synchronizing breath and movement. Noticing every subtle shift in light and sound, gardens hidden beneath the canopy are tended with precision and care. Herbs, roots, and edible flowers are cultivated attentively. Every leaf is examined, every stem supported, every blossom acknowledged. Water is drawn gently from streams, stones arranged to guide flow, ensuring the natural rhythm of the forest remains undisturbed. These gardens are living classrooms, places where patience, observation, and attentiveness are cultivated alongside sustenance. Meals are approached as sacred acts. Fruits, nuts, roots, and herbs are prepared with care and eaten slowly, with awareness of the life that sustains them. Eating becomes a meditation, a ritual of gratitude, and a lesson in presence. Conversation is quiet and reflective, often centering on observations of the forest, its subtle movements, and the lessons hidden in the ordinary. Sharing food strengthens community bonds, weaving a network of attention and care that binds the elves together. As afternoon unfolds, the forest shifts. Shadows lengthen and deepen, air cools, and the chorus of life changes. Birds adjust their calls, insects shift their flight, and small animals stir in the undergrowth. The elves pause frequently, noting these subtle transitions. Every movement, every sound, every pattern in light and shadow is observed. Nothing is overlooked. These observations feed into the elves' understanding of the cycles and interconnections of all life, informing their movements, decisions, and creations. Crafting continues as a form of meditation. Baskets are woven from reeds, bowls carved from fallen wood, and fibers spun into delicate fabrics. Every curve, every weave, every knot reflects the patterns of the forest. Each act of creation is deliberate and slow, connecting hand, mind, and spirit to the rhythms of life around them. Even seemingly mundane tasks, arranging stones, straightening a branch, or tending a sapling, become acts of profound mindfulness. Evening arrives gradually, bringing soft light and cooler air. Fires are lit in small clearings, illuminating leaves, faces, and pools of water. Stories and songs flow, carrying memory, instruction, and wisdom. Music is both lesson and reflection, silence between notes as powerful as the notes themselves. Every listener absorbs knowledge, integrating it into their awareness of the forest. Night descends gently. Moonlight glimmers across leaves, streams, and moss, and shadows stretch like living threads. Nocturnal creatures begin their rhythms, owls glide silently, insects hum, and small mammals move quietly through undergrowth. The elves observe with care, noting each movement, sound, and vibration. Awareness is continuous, even in stillness. The forest itself becomes a teacher, offering lessons in patience, perception, and harmony. Sleep is approached with reverence. Even in rest, consciousness lingers. Dreams are welcomed as guides, revealing hidden patterns, subtle lessons, and insights into the cycles of life. With dawn, the cycle begins again. Light spills across the forest, dew glistens on leaves, and the elves awaken, mindful and attentive. Each day repeats yet carries new subtleties: a newly blooming flower, a shifting beam of sunlight, or the glint of water over a stone. Repetition is not monotony. It is renewal. Through continual mindfulness, deliberate observation, and careful action, the Sylvan elves sustain harmony. Their magic is quiet, persistent, and subtle, found in every touch, every glance, every shared story, and every meal consumed with awareness. Light, shadow, wind, leaf, stream, and creature form a living tapestry, and the elves move fully within it, embodying balance, awareness, and attunement. Their greatest power is simple, inhabiting each moment fully, living attentively, and honoring the eternal pulse of life around them. Time flows not as a measurement, but as a continuum, fluid, interconnected, and ever-present. Life's deepest truths are revealed not through spectacle, but through deliberate engagement, through mindful observation, and through the quiet, continuous practice of being fully present. Each morning, as the forest awakens, the Sylvan elves rise with deliberate intention. They pause to feel the coolness of dew underfoot, the rough texture of bark beneath their palms, and the gentle warmth of sunlight as it filters through the canopy. Every sound, the trill of a bird, the rustle of leaves, the distant rush of water, is noted and woven into their understanding of the living world around them. Movement is slow, measured, and purposeful. Walking through the forest is not merely a means of transit. It is an exercise in observation and attunement. Every step is calculated to minimize disruption. Every glance is a lesson in noticing patterns and subtleties. The elves learn from each motion of the wind, each ripple across a stream, each flicker of light on a leaf. Even the smallest changes are recorded in memory, informing their choices, their craft, and their interactions with the forest. Gardens hidden beneath the thick canopy are tended with quiet reverence. Herbs, flowers, and edible roots are nurtured carefully. Water is drawn gently from streams, stones are placed to guide flow, and every plant is acknowledged before harvesting. Offerings, a petal, a whispered word, a small stone, maintain balance and reciprocity. Each act, no matter how small, contributes to the ongoing harmony of the forest. Meals are approached as meditative rituals. Fruits, nuts, and herbs are eaten slowly, each bite recognized for the life it represents. Sharing food strengthens bonds and reinforces the communal rhythm of their existence. Conversation is soft, reflective, often focusing on the subtle shifts of light, sound, and motion within the forest. Every discussion, every exchange, becomes a meditation in presence and connection. As the sun rises to its zenith, the forest hums with energy. The elves engage in crafting and practice, each act a lesson in mindfulness. Baskets are woven, bowls carved, and fibers spun, each reflecting the curves, patterns, and rhythms of the forest. Archery, walking meditations, and stretching align body and mind, harmonizing with the natural flow of air, light, and life. Even tasks that appear mundane, moving a branch, straightening a stone, observing a bird, become exercises in attentiveness and reflection. By afternoon, the forest reveals its subtle changes, shadows stretch, insects shift their flight, and small animals move through undergrowth. The elves pause frequently to observe these movements, integrating them into their awareness. Every subtle change teaches lessons in timing, balance, and adaptability. The forest itself becomes a teacher, offering insights into the interconnectedness of all living things. As evening approaches, fires are lit in quiet clearings. Soft light dances across leaves and water, illuminating the elves' faces as they gather to share stories and songs. Melodies carry history, lessons, and wisdom. Silence between notes is as important as the music itself. Every listener absorbs knowledge, integrating it into the rhythm of their awareness and the flow of their actions. Night falls gently. Moonlight streams through the canopy, turning leaves and streams to silver. Nocturnal creatures emerge, owls glide silently, insects hum, and small mammals move with careful precision. The elves observe all of it, noting patterns, behaviors, and the delicate interplay of life under moonlight. Their awareness does not cease, it continues into dreams, where lessons of the forest reveal themselves in symbolic and subtle ways. Dawn returns, and the cycle begins anew. Each day mirrors the last but carries subtle variations. A new flower blooms, sunlight glances differently across moss, or a bird sings a variation of its familiar call. Repetition and renewal coexist, teaching that attention, presence, and deliberate observation are the sources of wisdom and balance. Through this rhythm, the Sylvan Elves maintain harmony with the forest and themselves. Their magic is quiet and continuous, embedded in every mindful action, every observed detail, every shared story, and every deliberate movement. Life is not measured in spectacle or achievement, but in awareness, patience, and the steady cultivation of presence. Morning unfolds like a slow, deliberate breath through the forest. Mist rises from mossy stones, streams shimmer in soft light, and every leaf glistens with dew. The Sylvan Elves awaken with quiet reverence, stretching limbs, feeling the texture of bark beneath their fingers, and inhaling the layered scents of earth, water, and foliage. Each breath is a moment of connection, a reminder that they are part of the living tapestry around them. Their first movements are ritualized. Feet touch the forest floor lightly, palms graze tree trunks, and eyes scan for the subtle patterns of life, the path of sunlight across leaves, the glint of water over stones, the gentle sway of branches in the breeze. Every sound, birdsong, insect hum, rustle of small creatures is noted and integrated into their understanding of the day. Observation itself becomes an act of communion, a way to attune fully to the rhythm of the world. Gardens hidden beneath the canopy are tended with patience. Herbs, roots, and flowers are examined, watered, and harvested mindfully. A single leaf may be lifted, a root gently unearthed, a petal left behind as an offering. Every action acknowledges the life that sustains them, maintaining balance and honoring the reciprocity of existence. Even the smallest gesture carries meaning, reinforcing the web of interconnection in which they live. Meals are taken with deliberate attention. Fruits, nuts, and herbs are prepared carefully and eaten slowly. Each flavor, texture, and aroma is appreciated. Sharing these meals strengthens bonds, weaving attention, care, and gratitude into the communal rhythm. Conversation is soft, reflective, often centering on the subtle shifts in the forest, the flight of a bird, a new bloom, the movement of light across a stone. Through this mindful exchange, knowledge is shared, observed, and internalized. As the sun climbs, the forest pulses with energy. The elves engage in crafting, weaving, carving, and shaping natural materials. Every movement is intentional, every curve and knot reflecting patterns found in leaves, bark, and stone. Even the simplest actions, moving a branch, arranging a stone, observing an animal, become exercises in attention, patience, and presence. The act of creation mirrors the forest's rhythms, teaching subtle lessons about harmony, timing, and the interdependence of life. Afternoon brings deeper observation. Shadows lengthen, the air shifts, and small movements become more apparent: the flutter of insects, the soft rustle of a hidden animal, the ripple of water across stones. Each detail is observed, remembered, and woven into their understanding. Time is fluid here, measured not by clocks but by the cadence of life, the rising and setting of light, the flow of streams, the movement of creatures, the subtle vibrations in the earth. Evening approaches, bringing soft shadows and cooler air. Fires are lit in quiet clearings, their glow reflecting on leaves, water, and faces. Stories and songs are shared, carrying history, lessons, and wisdom. Silence between words or notes is as important as sound itself. Each listener absorbs knowledge, integrating it into the rhythm of awareness and daily practice. Music, narrative, and reflection converge to teach mindfulness, patience, and connection. Night descends in layers of shadow and moonlight. Streams gleam silver, leaves sway gently, and nocturnal creatures emerge. Owls glide silently, insects hum, and small mammals scurry cautiously. The elves observe each movement, noting patterns and behaviors. Even in rest, awareness continues. Dreams are welcomed as teachers, revealing hidden truths about the cycles of life, subtle connections in the forest, and lessons for the self. As dawn nears, the cycle begins again. Light spills across leaves and moss, dew glistens, and the forest awakens. Each repetition, though familiar, brings subtle variations, and new flower blooms. Sunlight catches a branch in a different angle, the song of a bird shifts. Repetition is renewal, observation is learning, and mindfulness is the rhythm that sustains them. Through all these cycles, the Sylvan Elves sustain the harmony of their world. Their magic is quiet, persistent, and woven into every gesture, observation, and interaction. Light, shadow, wind, leaf, stream, and creature form a living tapestry, and the elves move fully within it. Their greatest power lies in inhabiting each moment fully, living attentively, and honoring the eternal pulse of life. Time flows as a continuous stream, not a measurement. Life's deepest truths are revealed not through spectacle, but through deliberate engagement, mindful observation, and the quiet, continuous practice of being fully present. In the rhythm of daily life, in the cycles of dawn and dusk, in the whispers of leaves and the ripple of streams, the Sylvan Elves discover and embody the timeless secrets of existence itself. The morning sun climbs higher, and the forest hums with subtle energy. Every leaf glows with light, every blade of grass shimmers with dew, and each ripple in the streams reflects the sky and surrounding canopy. The Sylvan Elves move through this world with deliberate slowness. Every step, every glance, every gesture is infused with attention. Their senses are attuned not only to what is visible but to vibrations in the earth, the faint rustle of unseen creatures, and the almost imperceptible shift of air and light. In these hours, the elves engage in quiet observation. They watch the flight of birds, noting patterns of movement, timing, and behavior. They follow the paths of insects, observe the burrows and nests of small animals, and listen to the calls of frogs and other forest dwellers. Each observation is recorded in memory and in subtle physical gestures: adjusting a branch, moving a stone, tending a sapling, interacting with the forest without disturbing its balance. Gardens remain places of study, care, and ritual. Herbs, roots, and flowers are inspected for growth and health. Water drawn from streams is applied carefully, and every plant is treated as a living being deserving of respect. Petals may be left on the ground as offerings, small stones arranged in patterns of gratitude. Every act, however small, reinforces the balance between giving and receiving, reminding the elves that life is an ongoing exchange. Meals are approached as acts of mindfulness. Fruits, nuts, and roots are prepared and eaten slowly, with each bite acknowledged for the life it represents. Sharing food strengthens bonds, fosters attention to the community, and maintains the rhythm of daily life. Conversation flows gently, often about subtle changes in the forest, the emergence of a flower, the path of sunlight across leaves, or the faint traces of animals passing through. Through these exchanges, knowledge is shared, integrated, and remembered. As afternoon deepens, the forest shifts in character. Shadows lengthen, the air cools slightly, and the chorus of life evolves. Birds alter their calls, insects change their paths, and small animals emerge from hidden places. The elves pause frequently, observing and integrating these subtle shifts into their understanding. Every detail becomes a lesson in timing, interconnection, and presence. Time itself is measured not by hours but by the rhythm of life around them, the flow of streams, the shifting light, the movement of creatures, the whisper of wind. Crafting continues as a meditation in presence. Baskets are woven, bowls carved, and fibers spun, each reflecting patterns and forms found in the forest. Each gesture, no matter how small, is deliberate. Even the simplest tasks, moving a branch, arranging a stone, observing a bird, become practices of awareness, patience, and alignment with the forest's flow. Every act sustains the harmony of the living tapestry surrounding them. As evening approaches, fires are lit in clearings. Their soft glow illuminates leaves, stones, and the faces of the elves as they gather. Songs and stories are shared, carrying the accumulated knowledge of generations. Silence between words or notes is as powerful as sound itself. The listeners absorb history, lessons, and wisdom, integrating it into their ongoing rhythm of awareness and practice. Music, narrative, and reflection converge to teach presence, patience, and attentiveness. Night descends gradually, draping the forest in shadows and silvered moonlight. Streams gleam, leaves shimmer, and nocturnal creatures begin their routines. Owls glide silently, insects hum, and small mammals move with delicate precision. The elves observe, noting patterns, subtle changes, and interactions among creatures. Awareness continues even in stillness, as the forest itself becomes a teacher of patience, perception, and interconnectedness. Sleep is approached with deliberate care. Even in rest, consciousness lingers. Dreams are welcomed as teachers, revealing patterns, hidden connections, and insights into life, cycles, and self. With dawn, the cycle begins anew. Light spills across moss and leaves, dew glistens, and the forest awakens. Each repetition brings subtle differences: a new bloom, a shifting beam of sunlight, or the trill of a bird altered slightly. Repetition is renewal, mindfulness is growth, and observation is wisdom. Through continuous practice, mindful attention, and deliberate action, the Sylvan Elves maintain the balance of their world. Magic is found not in spectacle, but in the quiet persistence of observation and touch, in shared stories, in the careful tending of life. Light, shadow, leaf, wind, stream, and creature form a living tapestry, and the elves move fully within it, inhabiting each moment, attuning to rhythm, and sustaining harmony. Their greatest power remains simple yet profound, inhabiting each moment fully, living attentively, and honoring the eternal pulse of life. Time flows as a continuous current, not a measurement. Life's deepest truths emerge not from spectacle, but through deliberate engagement, mindful observation, and the steady, continuous practice of presence. In the rhythm of daily life, in the whisper of leaves, the flow of streams, and the quiet pulse of living beings, the Sylvan Elves uncover and embody the timeless secrets of existence. Each day, the forest offers lessons to those willing to observe. As sunlight filters through the canopy, the elves awaken slowly, stretching with awareness, feeling the texture of bark, the coolness of dew underfoot, and the warmth of light across leaves and stone. Each breath they take is a conscious act of communion, drawing in the living energy of the forest and exhaling gratitude. Their mornings are a blend of ritual and observation. They pause at clearings and along winding paths, noticing subtle movements, a bird shifting its perch, a ripple across a stream, the soft sway of branches in a gentle breeze. Every sound, every shadow, every pattern becomes a lesson, and they internalize these lessons with quiet reverence. Walking is never hurried. Each step is measured, mindful, and deliberate, ensuring harmony with the living world beneath their feet. Gardens hidden under the dense canopy are tended with patience and care. Herbs, roots, and flowers are examined for vitality, watered with thoughtfulness, and harvested with respect. Petals may be left on the ground as offerings, small stones carefully placed in acknowledgement of the life that sustains them. Each gesture reinforces reciprocity, the understanding that giving and receiving are inseparable, and that every life touched carries significance. Meals are approached as meditative acts. Fruits, nuts, and roots are eaten slowly, each bite savored, each flavor acknowledged. Sharing these meals strengthens bonds within the community and integrates gratitude into the daily rhythm of life. Conversation is gentle, reflective, and often focused on the subtle changes of the forest, a shifting light, a newly emerged flower, the distant call of a bird. Through such exchanges, knowledge, patience, and awareness are woven into the fabric of daily life. As the day progresses, the forest pulses with activity. Streams glisten, leaves shimmer, and small creatures move quietly among the roots and underbrush. The elves engage in crafting and practice, weaving baskets, carving bowls, shaping fibers, or performing archery exercises. Every gesture is deliberate, every motion a reflection of the forest's patterns. Even the smallest act, a branch repositioned, a stone straightened, or a plant observed, becomes a meditation in mindfulness, reinforcing connection and attentiveness. Afternoon brings subtle shifts in light and sound. Shadows lengthen, temperatures cool slightly, and the forest's chorus evolves. Birds alter their calls, insects shift flight patterns, and nocturnal creatures begin to stir. The elves pause to note these changes, integrating them into memory and awareness. Each observation teaches lessons in timing, rhythm, and interconnection, deepening their understanding of the living tapestry surrounding them. As evening falls, fires are lit gently in clearings, their glow casting patterns across leaves and streams. Stories, songs, and melodies carry the accumulated wisdom of generations. Silence between notes or words is as meaningful as the sound itself, allowing reflection and absorption of knowledge. Listeners internalize these lessons, weaving them into the ongoing rhythm of life and presence. Night brings a deep, meditative stillness. Moonlight illuminates leaves, moss, and flowing water. Owls glide silently, insects hum, and small mammals move carefully through shadows. The elves observe all of it, noting patterns, behaviors, and subtle interactions. Awareness does not cease. Even in rest, consciousness lingers. Dreams are welcomed as guides, revealing the cycles of life, hidden connections, and insights into the self. With the return of dawn, the cycle begins again. Light spills across leaves and moss, dew glistens, and the forest awakens. Each repetition is both familiar and new. A flower blooms, sunlight strikes a branch at a different angle, a bird's song changes slightly. Repetition and renewal coexist, teaching that attention, presence, and mindful observation are the keys to wisdom and balance. Through these continuous cycles, the Sylvan Elves sustain harmony. Their magic is subtle, persistent, and integrated into every action, observation, and interaction. Light, shadow, leaf, wind, stream, and creature weave a living tapestry, and the elves move fully within it, embodying attentiveness, balance, and attunement. Their power is found not in feats of spectacle, but in inhabiting each moment, observing with care, and honoring the eternal pulse of life. Morning light filters through the dense canopy, scattering in golden shafts across moss, leaves, and flowing water. The Sylvan Elves awaken slowly, attuning to every nuance of their environment. Each stretch of the limbs, each step, each inhalation and exhalation is deliberate, a conscious alignment with the pulse of the forest. They pause to feel the coolness of dew beneath their feet, the rough texture of bark beneath their fingers, the warmth of sunlight as it shifts across the landscape. Every sensation is observed, every detail noted, forming a living map of awareness. Their morning routines are a blend of ritual, reflection, and observation. They move quietly along winding paths, their feet barely disturbing the forest floor. Every rustle of leaves, every bird call, every glimmer of water becomes information, a lesson in timing, rhythm, and interconnection. Even the smallest actions, like touching a leaf or adjusting a stone, are performed with intention, reinforcing the delicate balance between themselves and the world around them. Hidden gardens are tended with meticulous care. Herbs, roots, and flowers are nurtured, watered, and harvested mindfully. Petals may be left as offerings, small stones carefully positioned, and every plant acknowledged for its role in sustaining life. These acts of care are not merely practical, they are meditative, deepening the elves' understanding of reciprocity and the interconnected web of existence. Each gesture, however minor, reinforces their continuous engagement with the forest and its living rhythms. Meals are approached as deliberate rituals. Fruits, nuts, roots, and herbs are eaten slowly, each flavor and texture appreciated fully. Sharing food strengthens communal bonds, integrates gratitude into daily life, and reinforces the rhythm of attentive living. Conversation is quiet and reflective, often focusing on subtle observations, the trajectory of sunlight across leaves, the path of a bird in the sky, the faint vibrations of water over stones. These exchanges weave knowledge, mindfulness, and harmony into the fabric of their lives. As the day unfolds, the forest pulses with life. Streams glisten, leaves shimmer, and creatures move silently through the underbrush. The elves engage in crafting and practice, weaving baskets, carving bowls, spinning fibers, or practicing archery. Every motion is conscious, reflecting patterns found in nature. Even simple acts, moving a branch, ranging stones, observing an animal, become exercises in presence, attention, and balance. Creation, observation, and movement all merge into a continuous meditation, a dialogue with the forest itself. Afternoon brings subtle transformations. Shadows lengthen, air cools slightly, and the forest's course changes. Birds adjust their calls, insects alter their paths, and small mammals stir in hidden places. The elves pause frequently to observe these shifts, integrating them into awareness. Every detail informs their understanding of cycles, interconnection, and harmony. Time is not measured by hours or minutes, but by the rhythm of life, the flow of streams, the sway of leaves, the hum of insects, the call of birds. Evening approaches with a gradual hush. Fires are lit in quiet clearings, casting warm light on moss, leaves, and water. Stories, songs, and music carry wisdom across generations. Silence between notes and words holds as much meaning as sound itself, allowing reflection and absorption. Listeners internalize these teachings, embedding lessons of patience, presence, and awareness into the ongoing rhythm of their lives. Night descends gently, enveloping the forest in shadows and silvered moonlight. Streams gleam, leaves shimmer, and nocturnal creatures emerge. Owls glide silently, insects hum, and small mammals move with careful precision. The elves observe continuously, noting interactions, subtle shifts, and hidden patterns. Even in rest, consciousness lingers. Dreams are welcomed as teachers, revealing the cycles, patterns, and secrets of the forest, and offering insight into themselves. Dawn returns, and the cycle begins anew. Light spills across moss, dew glistens, and the forest awakens. Each repetition carries subtle novelty, a new bloom, sunlight refracted differently, a bird's song altered slightly. Repetition and renewal coexist, teaching that attention, presence, and deliberate observation are the foundation of wisdom and harmony. Through these continuous cycles, the Sylvan Elves sustain equilibrium within the forest and themselves. Their magic is subtle, persistent, and embedded in every action, observation, and creation. Light, shadow, wind, leaf, stream, and creature form a living tapestry, and the elves move fully within it, attuning to rhythm, observing without intrusion, and honoring the flow of life. Their power is found not in spectacle, but in inhabiting each moment, observing with intention, and practicing presence continuously. Time is a river, not a measurement. Life's deepest truths reveal themselves not in grand displays, but through quiet engagement, mindful attention, and the deliberate practice of being present. In the soft whisper of leaves, the shimmer of flowing streams, and the subtle rhythm of every living being, the Sylvan Elves uncover, practice, and embody the timeless secrets of existence, demonstrating that the extraordinary lies within the ordinary, and the profound is discovered in conscious presence. With the first light of dawn, the forest breathes gently, and the Sylvan Elves awaken in synchrony with its rhythm. Their movements are deliberate, each stretch, each step, each breath infused with awareness. Fingers graze the rough bark of ancient trees, feet touch the soft moss beneath, and eyes trace the delicate play of sunlight through the canopy. Each sensation, each whisper of wind, each shimmer of dew becomes a lesson, a reminder of their place within the living tapestry of the forest. Morning rituals are slow and attentive. They pause at small clearings, listening to the calls of birds, noting the subtle rustle of leaves, and watching the patterns of light shifting across the forest floor. Every movement of the forest is observed, internalized, and remembered. Even the smallest gestures, touching a leaf, adjusting a stone, or bending a branch slightly, are acts of mindfulness, reinforcing the balance between themselves and the life surrounding them. Gardens hidden beneath the canopy are nurtured with care. Herbs, roots, and flowers are tended thoughtfully. Water drawn from streams is applied with precision, stones are arranged to guide flow naturally, and petals may be left on the ground as offerings. Each act is both practical and symbolic, teaching patience, attentiveness, and the principle of reciprocity, the understanding that giving and receiving are inseparable within the cycle of life. Meals are approached as sacred exercises in presence. Fruits, nuts, and roots are eaten slowly, each flavor, texture, and aroma acknowledged fully. Sharing food strengthens communal bonds, integrating gratitude and attentiveness into the rhythm of life. Conversation is soft, reflective, and often centers on the forest, a bird's flight, the subtle movement of water, or a change in the light across leaves. Through these dialogues, knowledge, mindfulness, and harmony are woven into daily existence. As the day progresses, the forest pulses with energy. Streams shimmer, leaves sway, and small creatures move silently in the underbrush. The elves engage in crafting, weaving baskets, carving bowls, spinning fibers, or practicing archery. Every motion is intentional, reflecting patterns found in nature. Even the simplest actions, realigning a branch, observing a bird, adjusting a stone, become exercises in mindfulness, attention, and attunement to the natural rhythms of life. Afternoon brings subtle transformations. Shadows lengthen, the air cools, and the chorus of life shifts. Birds alter their calls, insects change paths, and small mammals stir in hidden places. The elves pause to observe these transitions, integrating every nuance into their understanding. Time is not measured by hours but by the cadence of life, the flow of streams, the whisper of leaves, the subtle vibration of unseen creatures. Each observation deepens awareness and strengthens connection to the living world. As evening falls, fires are lit in quiet clearings. Warm light reflects across moss, leaves, and water, illuminating the faces of the gathered elves. Stories, songs, and melodies carry wisdom across generations. Silence between words and notes is as meaningful as sound itself, allowing reflection and absorption. Listeners internalize these teachings, integrating patience, presence, and attentiveness into the rhythm of their daily lives. Night descends slowly, draping the forest in moonlight and shadow. Streams gleam silver, leaves glisten, and nocturnal creatures emerge. Owls glide silently, insects hum, and small mammals move cautiously. The elves observe carefully, noting patterns, subtle interactions, and hidden movements. Even in rest, consciousness persists. Dreams are welcomed as guides, offering insight into the cycles of life, hidden connections, and the self. Dawn returns, and the cycle begins anew. Light spills across moss and leaves, dew glistens, and the forest awakens. Each repetition is both familiar and unique. A new flower blooms, sunlight strikes a branch differently, a bird sings a variation of its familiar song. Repetition is renewal. Observation is learning. Mindfulness is the rhythm that sustains life. As the day progresses, the forest transforms subtly around them. Light filters through the canopy in shifting patterns, casting intricate shadows on the forest floor. Streams glisten as they flow over stones, and every leaf and blade of grass moves in gentle response to the wind. The sylvan elves walk slowly along winding paths, their movements measured and deliberate. Each step is taken with awareness. Each glance carries intention. They notice the slightest tremor of a branch, the soft rustle of hidden creatures, the shimmer of dew catching sunlight. Gardens within the forest are tended with care and reverence. Herbs, flowers, and roots are observed for their growth and vitality. Water is applied thoughtfully. Stones are arranged to guide its flow naturally, and petals may be left as offerings to honor life. Every action, even the smallest, becomes a meditation, a conscious engagement with the cycles of growth, decay, and renewal that sustain the forest. Meals are approached with mindfulness. Fruits, nuts, roots, and herbs are prepared and eaten slowly, each flavor and texture recognized fully. Sharing these meals strengthens bonds within the community, weaving gratitude, attention, and harmony into the rhythm of daily life. Conversation flows gently, often reflecting on subtle changes in the forest, a bird in flight, the way sunlight touches a leaf, the whisper of wind through branches. These moments reinforce awareness, connection, and an understanding that life's lessons are embedded in observation. As the sun reaches its zenith, the forest hums with quiet energy. The elves engage in crafting, weaving, carving, or practicing archery. Each movement is precise, mirroring patterns found in nature. Even mundane acts, adjusting a branch, observing a bird, or moving a stone, become exercises in presence, attention, and attunement. Through this, the elves integrate themselves fully into the living tapestry, sustaining harmony and deepening their connection to the forest. Afternoon brings shifts in light and shadow, subtle changes in temperature, and new patterns of movement. Birds call differently, insects trace new paths, and nocturnal creatures begin to stir. The elves pause frequently, observing these transformations and integrating them into their understanding of time, rhythm, and interconnection. Here, time is not counted by hours, but by the flow of life, the swaying of leaves, the ripple of streams, and the measured motion of every living being. As evening falls, fires are kindled in quiet clearings. Their glow illuminates moss, leaves, and water, creating a serene stage for stories, songs, and teachings. Silence between notes or words is as meaningful as sound itself, allowing reflection and absorption. The listeners internalize these lessons, incorporating patience, awareness, and attentiveness into the rhythm of their existence. Music, narrative, and reflection converge to teach mindfulness and harmony. Night descends gradually, draping the forest in silvered moonlight and shadows. Streams gleam, leaves shimmer, and nocturnal creatures move with careful precision. Owls glide silently, insects hum, and small mammals stir softly in the underbrush. The elves observe continuously, recording every pattern, behavior, and subtle interaction. Even in rest, consciousness persists. Dreams are welcomed as guides, revealing hidden connections, cycles of life, and lessons for self-awareness. Dawn arrives again, and the cycle begins anew. Light spills across moss, leaves, and streams. Dew glistens on every surface. Each repetition is both familiar and unique. A new bloom appears, sunlight strikes leaves in a different angle, a bird sings a variation of its call. Repetition is renewal, observation is learning, and presence is the rhythm that sustains life. Through these unending cycles, the Sylvan Elves maintain balance and harmony. Their quiet magic is woven into every act of observation, creation, and mindful engagement. Light, shadow, wind, leaf, stream, and creature form a living tapestry, and the elves move fully within it, attuned to rhythm, observing without intrusion, and honoring the eternal pulse of life. Their power lies not in spectacle, but in inhabiting each moment, observing with intention, and practicing presence continuously. As dawn breaks once more, the forest awakens with subtle movements and sounds. Light spills through the canopy, casting ever-shifting patterns on moss, leaves, and water. Streams sparkle as they glide over stones, and every blade of grass trembles with the whisper of wind. The Sylvan Elves rise slowly, aligning their breath, their limbs, and their attention with the rhythm of life surrounding them. Every gesture is deliberate. Every motion is an act of communion with the living world. Morning rituals are a seamless blend of observation, movement, and meditation. The elves pause frequently along the winding paths, observing the intricate patterns of sunlight through leaves, the faint tracks of small animals, or the subtle ripple of water over stones. Each detail is noted, internalized, and incorporated into their understanding of the forest cycles. Touching a leaf, adjusting a stone, or bending a branch slightly becomes a mindful practice, reinforcing their connection to the world and the delicate balance they sustain. Hidden gardens are tended with careful attention. Herbs, flowers, and roots are observed for growth and vitality, watered with precision, and harvested thoughtfully. Petals may be left on the ground as offerings, stones placed in patterns of gratitude, and every act is an exercise in reciprocity. These moments teach patience, presence, and the understanding that every element of life, no matter how small, carries significance and contributes to the web of existence. Meals are approached as sacred meditations. Fruits, nuts, and roots are eaten slowly, each bite savored and acknowledged. Sharing food strengthens bonds within the community, weaving gratitude, awareness, and harmony into the rhythm of daily life. Conversation is quiet and reflective, often centering on the subtleties of the forest, the path of sunlight across leaves, the flight of a bird, or the distant murmur of running water. These exchanges are not idle, they are lessons in attentiveness, connection, and mindful observation. As the sun climbs higher, the forest hums with quiet energy. The elves engage in crafting, weaving, carving, and practicing archery. Each movement reflects the patterns of the natural world. Even simple actions, repositioning a branch, observing a bird, arranging stones become exercises in mindfulness and attunement. Creation, observation, and movement are inseparable, each reinforcing the other in a continuous flow of awareness. Afternoon brings subtle transformations. Shadows lengthen, light softens, and the forest's chorus shifts. Birds alter their calls, insects change their paths, and nocturnal creatures begin to stir. The elves pause, observing these transitions and integrating them into their understanding of rhythm, timing, and interconnection. Time is measured not by minutes or hours, but by the cadence of life, the sway of leaves, the ripple of streams, and the deliberate motion of every living being. As evening falls, fires are lit in clearings. Their glow reflects across leaves, water, and the faces of the elves as they gather. Stories, songs, and melodies carry wisdom across generations. Silence between words and notes is as meaningful as the sounds themselves, allowing reflection and absorption. Listeners internalize these teachings, weaving mindfulness, presence, and attentiveness into the rhythm of their lives. Music, narrative, and contemplation converge to teach harmony and patience. Night descends softly. Moonlight drapes leaves, moss, and streams in silver. Owls glide silently, insects hum, and small mammals move cautiously through the underbrush. The elves observe continuously, noting subtle shifts, patterns, and interactions. Even in rest, consciousness lingers. Dreams are welcomed as teachers, revealing the hidden cycles of life, connections among beings, and insights into self. Dawn returns again, and the cycle begins anew. Light spills across moss and leaves, dew glistens, and the forest awakens. Each repetition is both familiar and subtly new. A flower blooms, sunlight strikes leaves differently. A bird sings with a slight variation. Repetition is renewal, observation is learning, and presence is the rhythm that sustains life. Through these continuous cycles, the Sylvan Elves sustain balance and harmony. Their quiet magic permeates every act of observation, creation, and deliberate engagement. Light, shadow, wind, leaf, stream, and creature form a living tapestry, and the elves move fully within it, attuned to rhythm, observing without intrusion, and honoring the eternal pulse of life. Their power lies not in spectacle, but in inhabiting each moment, observing with intention, and practicing presence continually. Time flows as a living current. Life's deepest truths are revealed gradually, not in grand displays, but in the sustained practice of mindful attention. In the whisper of leaves, the shimmer of flowing streams, and the rhythm of every living being, the Sylvan Elves uncover and embody the timeless secrets of existence. They demonstrate that the extraordinary resides in the ordinary, the profound is discovered in conscious presence, and the ultimate magic is found in deliberate, continuous awareness.